Naruto 665. That's a real mixed bag in this chapter for me. It's a big bag though. There's a lot there. Now, some of the some of the things right in the beginning a little confusing. Madara I thought was still connected to Black Zetsu, and that's kind of his essence infused in it. That he had to talk to him and didn't know what was going on. This felt a little weird for me. And then little Black Zetsu baby Madara is all cocky. Well, I can go and you can't do anything to me. I thought that was pretty funny. And then Obito pulling him back. Now, this was something, the whole thing of, I personally was really focused on, the whole thing is the other half of Kyuubi, getting back to Naruto, and Black Zetsu pulls it in, and I'm like, wait a minute, Obito is still technically like the other half of the Sage of the Sixth Path, and now he is energized by he has half a Kyuubi in him. So he can go back to doing some level of Sage of the Sixth Path stuff. So I like that. That's another thing. I really do like what Kishimoto's done with that. So that was pretty cool. And then we get into what's to me is a much better, clearer vision of what the original Sage of the Sixth Path was trying to do. He was trying to create the Borg in a way, where everyone's connected, where there are no, there's only hierarchy enough to make things function. And but the Borg takes away your rights and everything else. So you kind of see the whole. And if you haven't seen Star Trek, then yeah, it's kind of a communist kind of thing, but works better than communism. Although it still takes away your freedoms and everything. But anyway, moving on. And oh boy, the Ren stuff. Well, anyway, I'll get to that at the end. Now. But I like the way he had the panel, the whole thing. You give individuals power. All the Sage of the Sixth Path did was give human beings power. It gave them the potential to communicate with each other. But yet another point was that people are very different from each other. That was something Madara says later on in here. I really enjoyed that because it is. We have different goals. We're all humans. We have similarities, but we have these personalities that have that process things very differently. We see similar events and we have completely different takes even when we understand exactly what's happened there because we're all different people. So just inherently flawed, okay? And the whole idea of you give people power, you're just giving them more power to do what we as human beings do anyhow as you go after wealth and power and yeah. So it didn't power in and of itself definitely doesn't make people better. Okay, which is the way it ended up. But it just felt a lot more thought out the way it was. And I like the idea, that using that power, for their own spiritual and for their own, to enhance their own physical abilities, and of course, fighting each other. So that's pretty much what they did there. And initially it was shocking to get back to something I kind of already mentioned is why was Madara even bothering no Jutsuing Obito? And why was Obito forcing him to do it? Because initially I'm like, wait a minute, you're defeated, you're this, and then, the other half of the Kyuubi's in you, and you're still technically the other half of the Sage of the Sixth Path. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So he had to go into his... And what's even more interesting is Madara has utilized another power, not enhanced by chakra, okay, which is the oratory. The idea of... Which is really what should pull people together, is to get people to think. All right, and some people use that for bad purposes or good, but whatever. But that really is the only way to halfway unify people, in my opinion. And that's of course the power that Madara has used to help him, to manipulate people and everything. So I thought that was a pretty good. Like I said, it was a pretty good chapter. But we're now at Obito. Okay, we're at Obito, who has found himself again. I am not you, and let's get to some of the problems and everything we have here. Okay, let's get to a real strength. Okay, Obito is a really, really, really complex character. I have loved this character, hated this character, felt strong sympathy for this character at times, been disgusted by this character, and then wore out. Just wore out by him. Just like, please go away. Obito. Just like Ren. It's not that there were. It gets to this. You have a very complex character with a lot of awesome components to it. Okay, but these components were not put together very well, and they really weren't executed very well. I shouldn't. When we see, well, two things here. When we see Ren as a motivating factor for Obito, we shouldn't feel, completely wore out by it. We just like, oh my gosh, here's an image of Ren as motivation for this guy for the 1 billionth freaking time. But that's what I see. I don't see, oh, here's this motivation. No, it's like, oh, please, not Ren again. Okay, and the other part of this is if Obito's really now gone back to his original goals, what he should see is humanity. He should see all of humanity. He's like, these people have a right to make their own choices. Okay, that's what he should see. And if he's trying to enslave them, he should be, well, then I'm going to do this for humanity. Okay, that should be his goals for the village, for humanity, not Ren. So that it just doesn't even remotely work. And like I already mentioned that. All right, I think I pretty much already covered this. It's a good chapter. It's one to sit back and think about. Okay, yeah, there's some action and everything, but it's pretty enjoyable. Now, of course, the questions are, we still don't know who the mystery person is. That's still there. Okay, it seems to be stumping a lot of people. And also, before I go ahead and close out, I'm going to have a separate Google Hangout this Saturday night, starting at 8:30 Eastern, and I put it down to end at 9:30. We're going to spend a lot of time with people once they get in to make sure people have got everything squared away. I'm going to talk to people before we go live and everything. So I would, the closing time or whatever, I wouldn't even worry about it. And that 8:30 is just people getting in, so we can talk about getting started, because we won't go live until everybody's ready to do it. And I still need responses from, let's see if I can pull this up here. And I've looked for people who have made comments. I know they have something to say, and every week I want to pull more people in. So if you haven't gotten picked, if you haven't got an invite yet or whatever, you may have got one and you don't even know it yet. But these are the people that have, a lot of people responded one way or the other, but these are the people that haven't yet. Mr. Marcus, I sent you an invite. If you could, when you get a chance to respond to say whether you know that you can make the 8:30 Saturday night Central Time. XX Avenger Legend, also you. Chaz Malakian, also 8:30 Central Time. Or excuse me, yeah, 8:30 Central Time. So if you guys could get back with me, and Conley Bob 9, of course. So, and that'd be about half the people are going to be there. It's about, including myself, about 9. So if I could get those responses back, that would be totally awesome. And as I've said, I have a lot of people that leave comments, and a lot of awesome comments. So if I want to bring in 1 or 2 new people every week and kind of rotate people through. So don't think that this is it, that I'm not going to ever don't worry about it. Like I said, I'm going to rotate people through. Anyway, I am not you. It was a good chapter, like I say, but it's just exposing that something that Kishimoto said, that he wished he had more time in the beginning to work this stuff out. And I think that if he had had more time, if he was only producing this like every other week or something on top of it, that we would have had an infinitely better story. Although Naruto's awesome, it could have been a lot better, because like I said, some of the parts don't fit together very well. But anyway, that's what we do. We kind of break it down. We're having fun here. Anybody can be an anime fan. You can always subscribe. You can always unsubscribe. You can do anything you want to. Until next time, take care.